Just want to remind our Spanish-speaking families, if you're joining us tonight, we will get started with our Spanish-speaking workshop. There will be a link where you'll be able to go to our YouTube page, and it will be one that you can actually get started as soon as start at 6 o'clock. Si están aquí hoy por el taller y hablan español, vamos a tener este programa en español. Va a haber, ustedes van a poder hacer un clic y van a entrar a YouTube para ver este taller también en español. Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started here right now at 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us. For those of you on Facebook Live, you will be able to submit your questions in the comment section. And for those of you joining us via Zoom, you will be able to submit your questions on the Q&A button that's down below. Thank you again for being here. For our Spanish-speaking families, we will have our workshop go live on YouTube, so there will be a link. So please click on the link and you'll be able to watch our presentation or our workshop in Spanish. Para las familias que hablan español, va a haber, ustedes pueden hacer un clic para agarrar este taller en español en YouTube. Empieza a las 6. Good evening, everybody. We will get started shortly here. So for those of you joining us on Facebook Live, you will be able to submit your questions on the comment box. And for those of you joining us via Zoom, you will be able to submit your questions on the Q&A button. Familias que hablan español, ustedes van a poder mirar este taller en español en YouTube. So por favor, cuando miren, ahorita a las 6 va a empezar. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. For those of you joining us on Facebook Live, thank you for being here. For those of you joining us on Zoom, thank you for being here. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Financial Aid 101. Just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you tuning in via Facebook, you will be able to submit your questions in the comment box. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom, you will be able to submit your questions in the Q&A button that's down below. So we're happy to have you here today. For our Spanish-speaking families, we will have this workshop also available in Spanish. There is a link there, a YouTube link that you will be able to click, and it starts at 6. Para nuestras familias, para ustedes si quieren este taller en español, o hay un link para YouTube, ustedes pueden hacer clic y lo va a llevar para este taller en español. So again, thank you everybody for being here. So excited to have everybody here on Facebook Live and via Zoom. So this is really exciting. My name is Jose Cardenas. I'm a school counselor program specialist. I'm part of our school district school counseling team. And I'm here today to really talk about financial aid. And, you know, this is for all of our families. Here in Stockton Unified, we're really trying to enhance our college and career culture as far as our students going off to college and career, but also our young ones, our little kids, for them to learn about college and career at an early age. We want them to know about colleges and universities and other options they have after high school at a very young age. So we're excited to have you here. Again, thank you very much for being here. We know that we have a lot of things to do. I know we have our families and we have dinner going on. So for the fact that you're here, I really appreciate you. For those of you that are not able to watch it live, this will be recorded. So you will be able to send this to family or friends, and you will be able to also watch it later. Again, thank you for being here on this evening. Again, my name is Jose Cardenas. I'm a school counselor program specialist. And I want to tell you a little bit about our school counseling initiative. So our school counselors right now are working really hard. They're working really diligently to deliver what's called the MTMDSS model, which is a multi-tier, multi-domain systems of support for all of our students, for all of our sites. And so we're really following what's called the ASCA national standards, as we're trying to provide comprehensive school counseling programs at all of our schools with all of our students. And so what that looks like, you might have seen some of our school counselors in classrooms. And so they're delivering different types of lessons that have to deal with social emotional learning or academics or college and career, because we're really trying to build that awareness, but also that readiness. So you will see our counselors also running small groups. They will work one-on-one with students and do individual planning for the future. But our school counselors are working diligently to provide comprehensive programs throughout our entire district. So with that, we work collaboratively with all of our school sites, with all of our district personnel, with our administrators, but more specifically, we work collaboratively with you, our parents, our families, our students. So as school counselors, we are here to serve, we are here to help, we are here to help in any capacities possible. We understand right now these are very challenging times, and because they're so challenging, what do we do? How do we move forward? And so as school counselors, we are still moving forward as providing information and also assisting our students and our families. So for tonight, we will be having our first workshop, Financial Aid 101. We will be having a series of workshops every month focusing on financial aid, on college and career readiness. And so we hope that you can attend. Our next one will be in November. It'll be in the end of November. So just look forward to some of these financial aid workshops. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, one last time, for those of you joining on Facebook Live, please make sure that you have any of your questions, put them in the comment box. For those of you joining us on Zoom, put them in the Q&A box, and then that way we'll answer your questions to the best of our ability. And so please, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So Financial Aid 101. What is Financial Aid 101? So oftentimes we don't realize that billions of dollars get left on the table. Back in 2018, about $2.5 billion got left on the table for students and families. That meant nobody applied. Nobody really got this money that was available. And last year, there was over $5 billion that was left on the table where students did not apply. Here in Stockton Unified, we've embarked on this mission to do Race to Complete. And we talk about Race to Complete because in the state, they have an initiative of Race to Submit. Race to Submit means you just submit your application for financial aid, you're done. Here in our district, we want to make sure our students complete everything possible so they can get their funds. So how do students get funds? What funds are available for families? So where does financial aid come from? So the first thing is we really need to focus at where our students can get this financial aid. And so this financial aid is really obtained through the federal government. It's obtained through the state government, colleges and universities, also private agencies and companies and foundations, and parents also are employers. Where I have here the federal government, if you're an AB 540 student, what an AB 540 student is a student who could be undocumented or has been here in the United States for at least 3 years and has graduated from a high school. They will apply for what's called the California Dream Act. And I'll go in a little bit more detail of what the California Dream Act is and also financial aid. So colleges put together what's called a financial aid package. Where does this financial aid package comes from? So it comes from grants, it comes from work study, it comes from student loans. I know that's kind of like a bad word. It's one that we'll talk about a little bit more in further detail. And then scholarships. So all of these put together is what gets our financial aid package. And so our students, when they apply for financial aid, the colleges and universities get as many grants, work study opportunities, student loan scholarships to build this package. So now we're going to go into a little bit more detail of what each of these areas are. So grants. Grants is free money. And so that's one of the things that I want to continue to say. When you apply for financial aid, specifically for grants, there are 3 different areas of grants that you can get. You can get a federal grant, you can get a state grant, or an institutional grant. So the federal grant, again, if you're an AB 540 student or a dreamer, you don't qualify for federal, but you do qualify for state and institutional aid. So the types of federal grants that you can get is a Pell Grant, an SEOG grant, which is known as a Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. You can get a state grant, which is a Cal Grant, which a lot of us have heard about, a middle class scholarship that's applicable to a CSU or to a UC, a Chafee grant, so that's really for foster youth. And then you can also get the institutional grants, for example, like the Promise Grant. The Promise Grant is offered at different community colleges, which pays for tuition. The State University Grant, that's at the CSU level, at the California State Universities. The UC Grant, that's at the University of California. And the EOP grant, which is the Educational Opportunity Program grant, which is usually reserved for first generation low-income students. So how much do I get? How much money could I actually get when I apply for financial aid? So this is a little example of the type of awards that you can get. So we talked about the different grants, but we also need to find out like what kind of money can I receive as a parent and as a student. And so I'm going to talk about the FAFSA first. So if I'm a student who is a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen, I'm going to apply for the FAFSA. So when I apply for the FAFSA, I can get federal grants. So the federal grants that it's possible that I can get up to $6,000 or up to $1,000 for the FSOG. For work study, I can get up to $5,000. And then there's that word, right? I have it highlighted in red. I can get up to $10,500. And we'll talk a little bit more about loans. For our state grants, I can qualify for a Cal Grant B or C. I can't get both. I get one or the other. A C is usually reserved for a community college, but I can get up to $1,600 or $1,000, right? A little bit more than $1,000. I can also qualify for a Student Success Completion Grant, which is up to $4,000. And that California College Promise Grant that we keep hearing about at the community college level, it waives all of the tuition fees. And again, if I'm a foster youth, I can get up to $5,000. And then this one specifically points down to Delta College. So if I attend Delta College, I can also qualify for an AB-19 grant that also pays for all of my tuition. And then and if you're not eligible for the California Promise Grant, you get this AB-19 grant. But on the other side, on the flip side, maybe I am an undocumented student. Maybe I'm an AB 540 student. I already said that I don't qualify for federal aid. What kind of aid can I qualify for? Well, the great thing is that in our state, we can still qualify for a Cal Grant B or C. We can still qualify for a Student Success Completion Grant, also the California College Promise Grant, or the Chafee if I'm foster youth. And I can still qualify for Delta College or the university grant programs. So here's an example of the type of aid that I could receive as a student who attends a CSU. So a CSU could be Cal State Stanislaus, which is Stanislaus State, or Sacramento State, or San Jose State, or my alma mater, San Diego State. So if I decided to go to a state university and I applied to the FAFSA, I can get, and so this is the mock-up financial aid package. So I can get about $6,195 from Pell Grant, another $500 from FSEOG, and then depends on my need, on how much I actually need, I can get money from work study. And I could talk a little bit more about work study. And then direct loans, I qualify for up to $12,500. And again, that's the last thing that we want to resort to. For state grants, again, I can get a Cal Grant A or B. I cannot get both. I can get one or the other for a state university. I can get either $5,742 or up to $1,672, which will add up to the $5,742. If I'm a Chafee, if I qualify for Chafee foster youth, I can get up to $5,000. And EOP, I can get up to $800. So as you can see, this package that is getting built, I can get a lot of money. And then there's other layers. There's also the layers within the university. So I can qualify for a middle class scholarship, which can reduce about 40% reduction for family incomes of up to $177,000. And then there's a state university grant program, which is about $5,000, $5,742. If I have what's called an EFC, an expected family contribution of less than $5,500. And again, I'll talk a little bit more what an EFC is. If I'm a dreamer and I'm going to a CSU, now I'm not going to get the federal money, but I'm definitely going to get the money from the state university grant. So I want to make sure that I get the money from the California Dream Act. I will get the CSU grant, and I will also get the state university grant. So again, I'm just going to remind everybody, if you have a question, please make sure that you put your questions. If you're on Facebook Live, go ahead and put your questions in the comment box. We will get to your questions later tonight. And also for those of you on Zoom tonight, please put your questions on the Q&A. So again, this is an example of the type of aid at a UC. So if I decide to go to UC Merced, if I decide to go to UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, those are the ones that are closest to us, or even UC Davis. A lot of our students like to go to UC Davis or even UCLA. This is the type of aid I can get at a UC. And so the type of aid I'm able to get at a UC if I apply for the FAFSA, I can get $6,195 in a Pell Grant, up to $4,000 in a FSCOG. And then in the work study, again, it depends on how much unmet need I have. That's what they're going to provide to me. And again, direct loans are going to give you about $12,500. And then for state, I can either get a Cal Grant A or a B. That's up to $12,570 or up to $1,672, which is added to the $12,570. And you're thinking, why do I get more at a UC? Remember, UC's cost a little bit more. The tuition is a little bit more. So that's why you get awarded a little bit more in the Cal Grant. Also can qualify for the Chafee. And then again, the EOP grant, which is up to $400. So it's a little bit less at the UC. But there is an added bonus to the UC. The added bonus is not only the middle class scholarship, but also what's called a Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. That Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan can give you up to $12,570 for families who make less than $80,000. And then there's also another grant. So for example, if I decide to go to UC Davis, I can get a UC grant, which is called the Aggie Grant Plan, of up to $3,771 for families who make between $80,000 and $120,000. So if I'm a dreamer and I apply for the California Dream Act, again, I do not get any of the federal money, but I will get all of that state money we talked about, as well as the UC money. So there are still options for students who are dreamers, and there's options for those of us who apply for FAFSA. So how do I get this money, right? I'm talking about all of this money and all these opportunities that one could get. So how do families get this money? So financial aid is something that we want to build upon from all of our students. We want all of our students from a really early age to learn about financial aid. And so our school counselors are utilizing programs like Zello. They're going into the classroom and doing college and career awareness because they're talking to them about the types of financial aid. So we're also trying to build capacity. But for students in the 12th grade, so for all of my seniors, I know that you're busily working on this. You have to apply for either the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, or the CADA, which is the California Dream Act. And so notice I said the free application for federal student aid. It's really vital and important that when you apply for financial aid, that you're doing the free application. I've had students in the past who have paid someone to do their application and it was a scam. So we want to make sure that all of you parents, that in your child's senior year, they apply for financial aid. But in your junior year, you can go ahead and obtain what's called an FSA ID, which will be your electronic signature, and prepare for the senior year transition. So in our high schools, our school counselors go into the junior classes, they help our students get their FSA ID, but it's not just the students who have to get the FSA ID, it's also our parents. Our parents also have to create their electronic signature, which is an FSA ID. For the California Dream Act, you do create a username and password, but in order for you to qualify for any of this type of aid, you have to apply to one of these applications. Some students think, well, I have to apply to both so I can get the most money possible. It's one or the other. If I'm a US citizen, I do apply, or a eligible non-citizen, I do apply for the FAFSA. If I am a dreamer or an AB 540 student, I'm gonna apply for the California Dream Act. And the websites are here below and they're listed, so they're linked. So let me talk about a little bit about the financial aid process. The financial aid process can be a process that is pretty lengthy, right? The financial aid application started on October 1st. Today is October 28th. So, you know, it's been 28 days since the financial aid application has been open, either the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. I pulled up a report just to double check that our students are doing it. We still have a lot of seniors in our district that still need to complete financial aid. I pulled up the report for the state. There's still a lot of seniors out there that still need to apply. So parents, family members, friends, please reach out to your seniors, you know, let them know that they need to apply for financial aid. A lot of families think, well, maybe I don't qualify for financial aid. You don't know until you apply. So our suggestion is the earlier you apply, the better. So you complete your financial aid application, which is either the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, from October 1st through March 2nd. So I know a lot of people listen to that March 2nd and say, oh, I have all this time. I have plenty of time to file financial aid. You do have until March 2nd for entitlement awards, But the reality is you're awarded more money, especially like in work study, for students who apply early. Some private universities require that you apply early. So it's really important for our students and our families that they apply as early as possible to get the most financial aid as possible for their families. So then you apply for financial aid after October 1st. A student will receive what's called a student aid report. Please look over that student aid report. That student aid report is going to have all the information that you submitted. Please review your date of birth, your social security numbers, your address, make sure everything is correct. I've seen students put in the wrong information and then it delays their process. So please make sure that everything is correct. And also on the student aid report, this is where you can make changes, you can make corrections, but this is also where they give you what's called your EFC, your expected family contribution. And so that EFC sometimes could be 0, or it could be a number of, 4,000. And so what that means is the expected family contribution is how much they expect the family to contribute. So that can be in form of loans, or it could be in form of scholarships. And I really have to harp on, we need to get as many scholarships as possible to meet that need. After you review your student aid report, you will go ahead and receive and review your award offers from all the different colleges and universities. You're going to compare to see who gave you the most money. And that's where you make a decision as a family to see what school or what campus you will be attending. Some schools will require a verification process. So you might have to submit some extra documents. You might have to submit tax information. It's really important that you follow up. This is part of that whole completion cycle. You need to respond to those colleges. Once you've responded to those colleges, then you complete all of that pending process, and then you're done with your financial aid. After you've accepted, you have to accept. Every year, our students have to renew their financial aid applications. So once you do it in the first year, every year thereafter that you go to college, it's really important that you continue to apply for financial aid. Remember, it opens on October 1st for all students. So for my students who are in college and maybe watching this, make sure that you're also applying for financial aid, because you have to renew it every single year. It's not automatic. So how do you get this thing called the Cal Grant, right? We've heard about it. There's been commercials. There's all of these announcements about the Cal Grant. The Cal Grant is also due by March 2nd. And so here in our district in Stockton Unified, but also in all the districts across California, we take care of one piece for students. So there's two pieces to get the Cal Grant. Piece number one is that your GPA is submitted to the California Student Aid Commission. As a school district, all school districts in California are required now to submit our students' GPAs by October 1st. So in our district, that has already been done. Now, the part that's really up to the student and to the families is to submit their financial aid applications. So you have to submit your free application for federal student aid or your California Dream Act. To be eligible for a Cal Grant, all you have to do is be a California resident, attend a California college, and at least have a 2.0 GPA. So this is easy. Students, we've already completed part one for you. All you have to do now is complete your application for financial aid. So when I talked about Cal Grants, there's three different types of Cal Grants. There's a Cal Grant A, B, or C. So again, you cannot get all three. You can get one of the three. So, and the way the colleges do it, their financial aid office, when they put their financial aid packages together, they will go ahead and look at the financial aid package to see what is the best for the student, where they're going to get the most amount of money. So for a Cal Grant A, if I qualify for a Cal Grant A, I can get up to $12,570 for a UC. For a CSU, I can get up to $5,742. Again, that's for a Cal Grant A. For a Cal Grant B, for a UC, again, they will give me about $1,672 all the way up to $12,570, and that's at a UC. Or at a CSU, I can get about $1,672, which will give me a max of $5,742, so up to $5,742. If I attend a community college, I can also get a Cal Grant B at $1,672. They can give me that for 2 years. But just a side note here, just to make sure, you can always pause your Cal Grant B if you attend community college. If you do that, they can save your aid so you can use it at a more expensive university, at a four-year university. So you can either use it at your community college, or you can have your financial aid office save it so you can use it when you transfer over to a four-year university. And then the last that we have is a Cal Grant C. The Cal Grant C, you can get up to $1,094 for those students who are pursuing either a technical or a career educational program. So if you're going to go to a vocation school or a technical school, you can get up to $1,094 with a Cal Grant C. Ooh, that's a lot of information, right? I remember when I was younger and my mom, for the first time, she was going through this with me. We were just overwhelmed. And then the first thing that we hit a roadblock is in my financial aid package, I got offers for loans. And it was like, oops, we don't want loans. So a lot of our families, we understand that we do not want loans for our kids. You've heard about the student debt crisis that we have in the US. And so more than anything, we don't want our students to be in debt for the rest of their lives for a college education, but we do want them to be smart and we do want them to know the types of loans that are out there. So the three types of loans that the federal government really does offer are, it's called the unsubsidized loan. So the unsubsidized direct loan, the student is responsible for the interest while they're in school. So if I'm attending school and I'm not paying the interest, of course, this is starting to go up. And so as the interest is growing, just make sure that that interest is being paid. The other one is a subsidized direct loan. So a subsidized direct loan, the government pays for the interest. So while you're doing the subsidized direct loan, the government is paying for the interest. And then there's the third loan, the parent direct loan, the plus loan, where the loan is given to the parent, and that parent loan is the parent becomes responsible for the loan. And so that the student is not responsible for it. So all the debt is not shared for the student. It's only on the parent, but the parent has to pass a credit check. The great thing about loans is that it's available. It's money available for students in case they need it, but they do not have to take it. I believe I did notice a hand raised. I'll definitely get to your question towards the end, if that's okay. So definitely get to your question at the end. So thank you. So if you're having questions, please, for those of you on Facebook Live, please submit your questions in the comments section. And for those of you on Zoom, please submit your questions on the Q&A. Thank you very much. So we talked about the different types of financial aid. So for students, you have an opportunity to get something called work study. Work study is a grant or a type of aid that's given to students where they will allot a certain amount of money. So for example, if they allotted $5,000, then you will be able to work. You can earn up to $2,500 the first semester, another $2,500 the second semester. So you're able to work while you're in school. The great thing about work study is that they're super flexible with your schedule. They know that you're a student first. So if they understand that you have a test or that you have a project coming up, they'll let you go ahead and go to your class or go study. It creates great working relationships with other professionals. Some people are able to find work study positions in their field of study. So maybe you want to be a doctor and you get to do some lab work or some research. And then it's a great way to earn money while you're in college. So it really gives you that on-the-job experience through work study. And it's very, very flexible. You only work about 20 hours a week. So again, they understand that you are a student first. And so work study is part of this financial aid package. There is a question on your financial aid applications that says, would you like to get work study? And people either pick yes, no, or I don't know. I would highly recommend that you do put yes, and you could choose later if you want to go ahead and pursue that job. But if you put yes, you'll be able to have the opportunity to get financial aid through work study. So parents, this is really for you. What if my child turns 18, right? And a lot of our kids are like, well, I'm going to be 18, I'm going to be grown. Whenever you apply for financial aid, it requires you to have your parents' information. And the reason it requires you to have your parents' information, it's going to require you to have your parents' information until you're the age of 26, or you answer yes to one of these questions. So you are legally an adult at 18, but in the eyes of financial aid, you are not a dependent unless you can answer yes to one of these questions. And so you have to go through all of these questions. So the first one is, were you born before January 1st, 1998? I know for all of our seniors, they weren't born before January 1st. As of today, are you married? Will you be working towards a master's or doctorate degree? You will in the future, but not the following year. Do you have children? I know of some of our students that if you do have children, you have to be able to provide for over half of their support. So that's a major question. Another one is, do you have dependents other than your children or spouse that live with you that you provide for half of their support? Are you currently serving on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces for purposes other than training? Are you a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces? At any time since the age of 13, were you both of your parents either deceased, or were you in foster care, or were you an orphan or ward of the court? Are you an emancipated minor, or are you a legal guardianship as determined by a court? So emancipation means technically that you've legally divorced your parents. I know a lot of kids and a lot of parents are like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Again, this is a legal form. I know kids want to get away sometimes, but emancipation is a legal document. So, and then the last one is, are you an unaccompanied youth who is either homeless or self-supporting and is at risk of being homeless? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you would be considered independent. But for the most part, most of our students, when they apply for financial aid, they are considered dependent students, which means they have to use their parents' financial information, which is their taxes. But there are special circumstances. So some of those special circumstances come down to, maybe my dependency status has changed. By contacting the school's financial aid office, so you no longer contact FAFSA, you no longer contact the California Dream Act, you're working directly with your school's financial aid office. And so they can determine and do a dependency override. So maybe you are now a dependent because something has changed. And so they can do a dependency override. Or maybe there was a serious death or illness that happened in your family. They can also make that change. Maybe there was a loss or reduction of income. Right now with the pandemic, there's a lot of changes going on in our families, and we're all being impacted in different ways. And so maybe in your taxes and your parents' taxes, they made a good amount of money last year or in 2019. But the reality is the circumstances have changed in 2020, and we know that they've changed dramatically. So if there's a loss or reduction of income, please let the financial aid office know that. If there's a loss or reduction of benefits, so benefits being your health plan, if there's medical concerns, please contact your financial aid office. They can make changes and actually a lot more aid. So if you work with the university's financial aid office, they can make these changes and help with these special circumstances. So we talked about loans. We talked about how there's a lot of loans that are given to students. But there's this one component that a lot of students miss out on, scholarships. On our website, on our college and career website, we have links to different scholarships and different grants and different opportunities that are available for students. These come out every single year. You may be thinking, well, I can't apply to scholarships until my senior year. Students who are younger, who may be watching this, parents who have younger children, please know that students can apply for scholarships at a very early age. I've seen 7th and 8th graders apply for scholarships. I've seen kids younger than that apply for scholarships. You can apply for scholarships at a very early age. Now, some are tailored for older students. Some say, well, it must be a graduating senior or must be a college student. There are some scholarships like that, but there are scholarships out there that are really tailored to younger students. And so I highly advise all of our students to definitely apply for scholarships. Don't wait till your senior year. If you are a senior, apply to scholarships as much as possible. I had a student during her junior and senior just applied. She had over $20,000 just in scholarships on top of her financial aid. So there are local scholarships, like in Stockton Unified, we have our own local scholarship application. It's one application that goes to several different donors. So please apply for your local scholarship within Stockton Unified. There's national scholarships. There's the Gates Millennium. There's I Can Afford College program. There's a Coca-Cola scholarship. There's a Target scholarship. When people say there's scholarships for everything, please believe me, there are scholarships for everything. Millions and millions of dollars go unclaimed because students don't apply, or students don't apply because maybe they see on a scholarship application says it requires a 3.5 GPA. I only have a 3.3 or a 3.0. Please apply, because if they get no applicants, they will select you. So apply to any scholarship that you possibly can. For our students who are attending a private school, if you're going to attend a private school, there is this program called the CSS Profile. The CSS Profile is a college scholarship service. A lot of our students that go to private schools, they don't fill out this application for a CSS Profile. So it's on top of FAFSA. It's on top of the California Dream Act. It is a pool of scholarships that's for private universities. And then also use reputable search engines. When you look up for a scholarship, you could look up fastweb.com. There's one that, and there's Scholar Me, Going Merry. College Board has this great opportunity scholarship. If you're just practicing for your SAT, you do a bunch of little check boxes, you can get up to $1,000 for this opportunity scholarship. So I highly suggest that our students look for these scholarships and apply for these scholarships. There are 2 other scholarships that are really important as well. In Stockton, tonight, there's actually a meeting happening right now simultaneously, the Community Involvement Program over at the University of the Pacific. So if you're thinking about going to the University of the Pacific, you can apply for what's called the Community Involvement Program Scholarship. That scholarship can pay up to 90% of your tuition. I don't know about you, but college is pretty expensive. UOP is about $60,000. The CIP program can pay up to 90% of your tuition just for doing community service. And if you're a Stockton Unified student, you also have another advantage. You have the advantage of getting what's called the Stockton Scholars. In order to get the Stockton Scholarship, it's about $1,000. If you attend a 4-year university, you can get up to $1,000 for 4 years. If you attend a community college, you can get up to $500 for 2 years. All you have to do is submit your financial aid application, so either the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, and submit your Stockton Scholars application to get financial aid. Again, that's another unique opportunity. We want all of our seniors to get as much financial aid as possible to avoid those student loans. And the other thing that I want to definitely suggest is you should never have to pay for a scholarship. There's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to, say, if you pay us $100, we will guarantee you $5,000. And that sounds like a deal. But scholarship information is all free. You should never have to pay for scholarships. Just letting you know off of experience, I've had family members, I've had parents, pay a check, paid somebody to do scholarships, and it was a scam the entire time. They were paying them monthly. So please don't ever pay anybody for a scholarship. Again, this information is completely free. And so with that, I just want to tell you, thank you very much for attending tonight. Thank you for all of you who are on Facebook Live, all of you who are here on Zoom. We're definitely going to go and move forward to our Q&A section right now. But I want to say, if you're going to apply for the FAFSA, the earlier the better. Remember, you get more financial aid when you apply early. So apply before March 2nd. October 1st was 28 days ago. So please apply for financial aid. For our dreamers, our AB 540 students, apply for the California Dream Act. We are here to help you. Our school counselors are ready. They're holding workshops, they're holding events, they're holding one-on-one appointments. We are here to assist. This is a district-wide endeavor that we're going to help our students out. For more information, please go on to our college and career website. There are links to scholarship information. There's links to application information. There's a lot of info that's for parents and for students, but please apply. And the last thing I just want to tell you is, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. We will have another series of workshops happening each month, different topics on financial aid, on college applications. Again, this is for all students. This is for all parents and all families, regardless of grade level. We hope you learned something here tonight, and we're going to go ahead and turn it over to our Q&A section. So if you have a question, if you're on Facebook Live, please go on to the comment section and put in your questions. If you're joining us via Zoom, go ahead and put it on the Q&A section. So now we're going to go ahead and answer your questions. So let me look for the first question that we have here. So our first question. So one of our questions that we have, so this comes from an anonymous attendee. So any of this FAFSA money I get, I don't have to pay back. So to let you all know, whenever you get financial aid from FAFSA or the California Dream Act, if it is a grant, if it is a scholarship, you do not have to pay it back. But if it is a loan, the loans you will have to pay back. So let me say that again. If you get a loan, part of financial aid, as part of your financial aid package, you will have to pay it back. Any other grants or scholarships, that is free money that you get. And so a majority of it will be free money. Another question that I got. So thank you for that question. Will there be Will there be applications on paper? So there are no longer applications on paper. I know when I went to school, there was definitely applications on paper. They do this online. So everything is done online. It's actually even gotten easier. They started to do it on your phone for a mobile app. I know I've used the phone mobile app. It is so much easier to use our phone mobile app. I know a lot of students are on their phones. You can apply for financial aid with your phone on their mobile app, or you could do it on a computer. So I also got a question now from Miss Rhonda Mutri. Can you send the slide deck via email? Yes, we definitely will be posting the slide deck on our website. And we're also going to be posting this video online. So we're going to be sharing this with all of our families, with all of our students, and also our teachers. So let me see what other questions we have. So another question that I got from an anonymous attendee is, how secure is my personal information that I submit? So the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act are run by our federal and state governments. So these are very secure websites. They understand that they are holding very secure and pertinent information. And the information that's being secured. So for example, when I file for my FAFSA, I can actually use an IRS data retrieval tool within my FAFSA, connect my IRS information so it fills it in automatically and I don't have to do it. If you do it through the IRS retrieval tool, you will have a less verification process and it's a much easier process. If you do not use the IRS data retrieval tool, then you will have to submit a lot of forms, but it is a very secure site, both at the California DREAM Act and also at the FAFSA. Another question that I got from an anonymous attendee is, do you recommend anywhere or anyone we should go to for scholarships? So yes, I definitely recommend that you go to your school counselors for scholarships. Your school counselors have a bank of scholarships. They have the local scholarship, which comes out every single year for all of our seniors, but they also have a bank of scholarships that come out every single year nationally and within our state. So please see your school counselor. They have that wealth of information, but also on our website, on our college and career website, we also have our information regarding scholarships. So yes, so please definitely check out our website. So I'm also I did get a couple questions as far as how do I make changes to my FAFSA? So when students submit their FAFSA or their California DREAM Act, you make your changes via your student aid report. When your financial aid application has been processed, you go ahead and get your student aid report and you make any changes or any additions to your student aid report. So it's really important that you look at your student aid report and you make any corrections there, but you don't do any corrections until after it's been processed. Remember, for those of you on Facebook Live, please ask your questions on the comment section. And for those of you on Zoom, go ahead and post your comments on the Q&A button. So another question is, how do I apply for scholarships? So every scholarship donor has their own application process. So for example, if I'm going to apply to our local scholarship application is already online. So all a student has to do is they click on the link, they fill out their information, and they submit it to their school counselor or to the guidance tech. But if I apply to a national scholarship, I basically go onto their website, click on the link to apply, and I put in information. The information they usually ask for scholarships, they will ask you any community service that you've done. They'll ask you information about maybe your household, and then they definitely sometimes ask you about your income. Now, not all scholarships are income-based. Some are merit-based, which is by grades. Some scholarships just want an essay to talk about, how you would contribute back to the community. Again, every scholarship is different. So when you apply for a scholarship, you would go to their website or you go to that donor's website and you apply and you just give them the information that they're requiring. Again, I've seen scholarships that say, please post a picture of you doing community service. Please post a picture of you wearing blue jeans for a cause. And so there's so many different ways to apply for scholarships. I did get another question here. Once you put your major in the application, Can you change it, or will it have to remain the same? So for financial aid, you do not have to list your major. It's not something, you do have to list colleges, but on your college applications, when you do list a major, you can always change it. A lot of our students go undeclared into college. And so if they go undeclared, they have until their junior year to really declare a major. But yes, if you submit an application already with your major, you can contact your college's admissions office and ask them to make that change, and you can definitely change your major. So let me see what other questions we may have. Let me see. So a question that I received was, what if I can't afford my expected family contribution? What if I cannot afford my EFC? So when you get your EFC, it all depends for different students. So in different families, I always notice that some of our students, you know, they live in the same neighborhood and they apply for financial aid, but they get different financial aid packages. And within the financial aid package, it'll say an expected family contribution. One family member might have to have an EFC of 0. Another family might have an EFC of 500. Another family might have an EFC of 5,000. So if for some reason you're that family that happens to be an EFC of 5,000, don't freak out and don't say, oh my gosh, I can't go to college because it's too expensive. Honestly, what you can do is you can write an appeal letter to the financial aid office by writing a written notification to them and letting them know that there's been a change of circumstances or that you really need more financial aid. Another thing that you can do is apply for merit-based scholarships. So scholarships that really have to do with just your GPA, that has nothing to do with income. And then the last but not least is, you know, really working with different universities, because you're going to get different packages, to see which is going to be the best opportunity. I know I've had students, when they look at the sticker shock of maybe going to Columbia and it costs, you know, $70,000 to $80,000, but they get more financial aid at that institution than if they go to a California State University or University of California. So it all depends on your financial aid package. Another question that I got from one of our anonymous people that are attendees that are here today is, where will I be uploading this slideshow and websites for some of the scholarships to fill out? So on our college and career website, which is right here on this slide deck right now, it will be at www.stocktonusd.net/page/776. So that is our college and career website on Stockton Unified. So if you go to Stockton Unified, it will be on our college and career website. You will see the information, the upload for the slide deck. You will also see the information, the upload for scholarships, a lot of scholarships links there as well. Thank you for that question. It's just posted on the chat box. So another thing, back to the question as far as like, where can I find scholarships? There's a lot of different places. In the slide deck, I talked about a few. There is a place called Financial Aid. There's another one called My Big Future through College Board, scholarships.com, and also Career One Stop. On our website, we're going to go ahead and post more of those scholarships, but there are a lot of scholarship sites out there that a lot of students don't apply. You know, I had one student one year that went out to the community and just started asking local businesses, and they ended up getting scholarships from those local businesses. Now, those local businesses never had a scholarship set up, but they saw our students and the caliber and how bad they wanted to go to college, that the local businesses contributed in scholarship monies to that student. So it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask businesses if they have a scholarship. Another question that I've received is, do I have to report outside scholarships to financial aid offices? So you are required to report any outside scholarships to your financial aid office. For some scholarships, it might impact your overall aid package. For others, it will not impact or alter the amount of your awards. So it just depends on the university, but it is something that you have to work with your financial aid office. So another question that we received, what's the chance of me getting accepted for a scholarship if I apply to the most of those links you send? So honestly, the chances are, it depends on how many applicants. I can't tell you enough. Every year that we've done the local scholarship within Stockton Unified, we are looking for students who are wanting to go off to to apply. And so it's really important that you apply regardless. We don't know the chances because it depends on how many applicants they get. But again, year after year, many of the scholarships go unclaimed. So definitely apply and just reach out to those organizations because sometimes they don't get anybody applying. I had another question that says, what is the purpose of the FSAID? So the purpose of the FSAID is it's an electronic signature. So now because everything has moved online, and it's been online for many years, in order for us to sign our financial aid applications, for example, on the FAFSA, the FSAID is specifically for FAFSA. So it allows us to electronically sign our document that it has been received and then it's sent. So the FSAID has to be created by our student. So a student has to have an FSAID and then one parent has to have an FSAID on file. So the purpose of the FSAID is to have an electronic signature to submit our documents. A lot of years have gone by where students won't do an FSAID, the parent won't do an FSAID. So we have to print it out, the parent signs it. It takes 6 weeks for that application to be processed if we submit a signature via mail. It takes less than 2 weeks if you do it electronically. So your applications get processed a lot faster when you do an FSAID. Another question that I received is, should I take a work-study job? So the work-study job is an opportunity really to earn money while you're in school and to help you pay for college. Now, it's a part-time job, so the employers really help you and work with you. They know that you're a student first, but it's a great opportunity. Now, you choose if you want to go ahead and have a work-study opportunity, but it is another option for students to help pay for college. When I was a work-study student myself, and I would receive $5,000 every single year. And so I would use that $2,500 a semester to help pay for food, to help pay for my rent, to help pay for, for some bills. I know it's not a lot of money, but it was definitely money that helped. A question that we received is, are these scholarships updated? On them says, if I'm attending school fall 2020. So the scholarships are updated every single year. I know within our local scholarship, when students click on it, it'll say, scholarship from 2017 or 2018. That is still a valid application. So the scholarships do get updated from different donors. And so the donors sometimes update them every year, and sometimes they just use the same application. For my younger families, for my parents with younger students, the way to really tackle these scholarships is if you have a kid who's in 7th or 8th grade, or maybe a junior, look at the scholarships that are out, because the same scholarships come out every single year. You can apply, you can fill out a scholarship application, have it ready. So when your student is ready to apply for it, maybe it's for seniors, they have it ready to go, and all they have to do is transfer that information over. So those scholarships come out every single year, and some of them do get updated every year. I got a question from our Facebook Live. And so one of our questions, are scholarships based on parents' income? So some scholarships are based on families' income, but I'm going to give you an example. So San Joaquin County Office of Ed has a really neat scholarship for students, and it says, income-based. Well, that scholarship is for families who have a high income and don't qualify for any other scholarships. So scholarships can be income-based, either for low-income students, but some can also be for high-income earners because they're trying to fit a need. Some scholarships are merit-based, which is all just by GPA, but scholarships can vary. So there are scholarships out there that have nothing to do with parents' income. They don't even ask that question. They ask questions as far as like community service, school involvement, involved in clubs. So again, there are scholarships out there that are income-based, but there are definitely scholarships out there that are not income-based. So another question that I got is that, let me see, it says, so you mentioned that we can have someone give us scholarships or money. Are you telling us someone went somewhere and they helped out? So what I was saying is that there are people out there that are trying to scam our students and our families. and they will say, they will attend a workshop, for example, very similar to this, and tell them how they can get them $5,000 if they paid them $100. Now, again, it sounds like a great deal, but the reality is that they really are scamming them. So there are people out there who are trying to scam families and students to pay them to try to get a scholarship. Again, scholarships are free. To apply to a scholarship is free. You shouldn't have to pay anybody to apply for a scholarship. So, but there are people to help you with scholarships. There are school counselors. I know there's some teachers that are really trained in this. There are people out in the community, but your school counselor is your best bet to help you fill out scholarships and also to help you fill out financial aid applications. Great question, thank you. So another question I have here is, so once I finish my FAFSA, can I immediately start applying to scholarships? Yes. You don't have to wait to fill out your FAFSA to apply for scholarships, but I'm definitely gonna say as soon as you finish your financial aid application, whether it be the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, please apply for scholarships. That's gonna help you meet that unmet need that will either come from loans. So please apply to as many as possible. The other thing to that is you don't only apply to scholarships while you're in high school. You can apply for scholarships while you're in college. You can apply for scholarships while you're in grad school. You can apply, there's scholarships for every level. I myself received scholarships in my doctoral program, and while I was still working, there was a scholarship for a working professional. And so there are scholarships out there for every level. So if you have children in college already, please have them look at different opportunities to apply for scholarships. So yes, after you apply for financial aid, that's number one, get that out of the way, apply for scholarships. So I have a question here from Elisa. It says, can you get scholarships and get financial aid at the same time and be able to keep both? So again, for financial aid, they will give you a financial aid package. And if you get scholarships, some universities just let you keep both. So if you have extra money that you paid your tuition, you've paid, your housing, you've paid everything, and you have extra money left over, some universities just cut you a check and you have extra money left over to buy books, extra money for any other educational expenses. So work with that financial aid office. Some universities definitely let you keep both. I remember when I was in school, I got a $4,000 check from a scholarship, and they let me keep the entire $4,000. So I was able to pay my rent for 6 months. So please, yes, you may be able to keep both. Another question that I have here is, what's the difference between California Dream Act and FAFSA? Should I be doing both? I recently made an account for FAFSA. So you only do one application. You only do either the California Dream Act. So if I'm an AB 540 student, so that means I'm either an undocumented student or I'm a dreamer, I do the California Dream Act. If I'm a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen, then I do the FAFSA. You do not do both. So if you're a US citizen, yes, definitely do the FAFSA. If you're not, you will do the California Dream Act. You only do one of those applications. You do not do both. Thank you for that question. Another question that I got was, how soon do I have to start repaying my loans if I were to take out a loan? So if you were to take out a loan, a federal student loan, you don't start paying on that loan until 6 months after you graduate if you have a subsidized loan. Remember, if it's subsidized, the federal government is paying for your loan interest. 6 months after you graduate, you will start making payments. You don't pay your loan in full, you make payments. If you get an unsubsidized loan, remember, it's really important to pay that interest while you're in school. That way you don't want it to balloon. You don't want that interest to grow too high. But you have a grace period of when you're in school for 6 months after you graduate to start paying back on that loan. If you go back to school, your loans will actually go on deferment until you finish with school. So if you go on and get your bachelor's, you get your master's and your doctorate degree, you can defer your loans all the way out. So there are loan deferments. What's the best thing to do to avoid loans? The number one thing that my biggest suggestion to avoid loans, you want to have them just in case you need them. They're there and available to you. But you can also, the best way to avoid them is to get scholarships. So do your financial aid, do everything that you can, but to do scholarships, because that's going to really help you with your unmet need, is to do scholarships. the last thing that I want to say about the loan process is it is a scary thing. We don't want our students to be in debt. We want you to get as much financial aid as possible. So grants, work study, scholarships. The loan is really the last resource. And so it's a last resource that's available there for you as a student. I know for myself as a student, when I got a student loan in my undergrad, every time I got a scholarship, I paid down that loan, or I paid off that loan. So while I was in school, that was one way for me to manage my money. So there's different ways that you can tackle that. So while you're in school, if you get a scholarship, you can turn around and pay off that loan if you do have one. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being here, part of our first workshop series on financial aid. I want to say, you could have been somewhere else, but we truly appreciate you being here. We are going to put our slide deck on our website. We're also going to put this video. It is being recorded. It will also be online for other people to watch, or for you to watch later. There's 2 more questions that I want to get to really quick. Is if multiple scholarships accept me and I'm in need of money, will I be able to accept just the highest or all? For scholarships, you can receive them all. So for Elisa, if you get a lot of scholarships, you can get every single one of them on top of any other financial aid you get from the colleges and universities. So that's all the questions that I have today. Wait, I think I got one more. Let's see. I don't see if I got one more. I see it. Oh, I got it. Thank you from Elisa. You're welcome very much. And so thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all of you who came on Facebook Live. Thank you for those of you who Zoomed in. Appreciate you being here. We will have another workshop in November, really focusing on the application process. So please feel free to reach out to your local school counselor. Your school counselors are here to help. They know how to do this. They know how to do this work with financial aid. So please make an appointment with them or attend their workshops. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you. Have a good rest of your night.